and I discuss the theme and the ending with you, right? So what did this person Jayanto said to his friend? He said that Jayanto said to his friend Shankar that once this doll Fritz was dead for him, he buried that doll. He arranged a funeral of that doll and he buried it. I buried him under that Devda tree. So he buried that doll Fritz with whom he was so much attached under that Devda tree. I had wanted to make a coffin. Fritz was, after all, a European. So why did he bury that doll? Because Fritz was a European. He even paid attention to the place where that doll belonged to, right? And the religious ceremonies of that doll should be concluded in a proper manner. He paid attention to this fact also. But I could find nothing, not even a little box. So in the end, I buried him just like that. So that is why Fritz was buried. At last, the mystery of the Deodar tree was solved. So for Shankar, because Shankar found it very intriguing and very interesting, so for him, the mystery of that Deodar tree was finally solved. We went to bed at around 10. Our school was a large one and our beds had been, our room was a large one and our beds had been neatly made. Not being used to doing a lot of walking, I was feeling rather tired of the day's activity. Besides, the bed was very comfortable. I fell asleep barely 10 minutes after hitting the pillow. After hitting the pillow means after lying on the bed, he fell asleep within 10 minutes. Because he was very tired, there were two reasons why he was feeling so sleepy and why he slept so quickly. The first one was that he was not used to walking, and because they went throughout the day, they were busy with sightseeing, visiting different places of Bundi, different important places of Bundi. So because of that, he was tired, and the second reason was that the bed was also very comfortable. So this made Shankar fall asleep very quickly. We went. A slight noise woke me a little later. I turned on my side and found Jayantu sitting up on me. So he had just fallen asleep. What happened after that? He was woken up by some noise. Right? He heard some noise and then he got up. He woke up and found Jayantu. And then what did he see? He saw that Jayantu was sitting up in his bed. The table lamp by his bed was switched on, and the table lamp which was on his side, that was also switched on. And in its light, it was easy to see the look of anxiety on his face. And he looked very anxious, he looked very kind of nervous, frightened, and that expression on Jayanto's face was clearly visible. I asked, "What is it? Are you not feeling well?" So Shankar got puzzled because I told you that he was a very caring friend. He was always worried about his friend. And so he asked, "What's wrong with you?" Obviously, anyone will get up and ask, right? If in the middle of the night you see the person who was sleeping next to you, he is up with the table lamp, with the side lamp switched on, and then he is looking so frightened and so anxious. So obviously, you will ask. That is not some kind of normal behavior, right? So you will ask. You will get worried about that person. So the same happened to Shankar. Instead of answering my question, Jayantu asked me one himself. Do you think this circuit house has got small animals? I mean, things like cats or mice. So instead of answering Shankar's question, he himself had a question to throw upon his friend, and so he asked, "Do you think that there are some small creatures in this circuit house?" I shouldn't be surprised if it does. Why? So that is not something surprising. In India, you find creatures everywhere, right? You can't even imagine how many people they are residing along with you in your houses, especially these pests, right? So we are like very big-hearted people, and we give shelter to a lot of other creatures, right? So that was not something very surprising for Shankar. So he said, "Yes, sorry, it won't be surprising for me if there are small creatures like cats and rats in this building. It's quite obvious because the building as it is was very old. So something walked over my chest. That's what moved me. So he said, because I felt something moving on my chest, so I was woken up. Rats and mice usually come in through dreams, but I've never known them to climb on the bed. So it's like something very common that rats and mice they come to visit you, to come to visit your houses through the drains and the pipes. They come, right? But like they don't normally climb over the bed and start walking on the people's chest. That was something which was strange. This is the second time I have woken up. Actually, the first time I had heard a shuffling noise near the window. So what do we come to know? That he was like feeling kind of restless. He was not able to sleep properly, right? And when are you not able to sleep properly? When your mind is not calm. See, so many things were happening with Jayantu. His old memories, which were like kind of not very pleasant ones. Now he started remembering. He almost recollected everything about Fritz. Fritz was a doll with which Jayantu was very much attached. So the memories which were coming to his mind were not very happy ones. He remembered the death of his doll, the funeral of his doll. So they were not very pleasant memories. So he was having a very restless and a sleepless night. So the first time, this was the second time that he had got up. The first time when he got up was because of what was the reason? That he heard some shuffling. What is the shuffling sound? Means he felt something was moving near the window. That also disturbed his sleep. And now what was the cause of his waking up? It was that he saw something walking on his chest. Oh, if it were near the window, it is more likely to be the cat. Yes, but. So, yes, but means Jayantu was trying to say something else. But then he stopped, right? He said, yes, because Shankar said, oh, you saw something moving near the window. So then it won't be the mice, it must be the cat, right? I'll just go and find it. So Jayantu interrupted him and he wanted to say something else. He said, yes, but, and then he stopped, right? Why did he stop? Maybe he thought that Shankar won't believe whatever he wants to say, whatever he wants to tell Shankar. So that is why he kept his views to himself. Because, Shankar is behaving in a very practical manner, right? From all the information which he is getting from Jayantu, what is he saying? He said, okay, fine, you saw something moving near the window. And it's fine, it's very okay, it's very normal that these old buildings and houses, they have rats. So they come to the dreams. But, and cats are also likely to come through the window. So this is what he was concluding from whatever he was trying to say. So Jayantu felt that he is not actually trying to understand whatever he wanted to tell him, right? See, if you want to talk about things which are not very normal, right, which are not very common, obviously there will be some kind of hesitation. And the person to whom you are talking is a very rational one, is a very logical one, then you will even more be hesitant. So that is why Jayantu was hesitating. And so he didn't say anything. Jayantu still sounded doubtful. So Jayantu was still doubtful about what Shankar said, that it must be the cat. So he actually didn't agree much to that thought that it was the cat. Didn't you see anything after you switched the light on? Nothing. But then I didn't switch it on immediately after opening my eyes. To tell you the truth, I felt rather scared at first. But when I did switch it on, there was nothing to be seen. So then Shankar further inquired that when you switched on the light, didn't you see anything around you? Didn't you see anything? Means what was it which was near the window? So he said that no. I didn't see anything after switching on the light. But then the other reason why I was not able to see anything was because I took some time to switch on the light. See, a person is sleeping very nicely, and then he hears some shuffling and some moving sound near the window. Then, and then when your mind is already preoccupied with certain things, right, certain scary things, then what will happen? You will take some time. The first thing which you'll feel is that you will be scared. You'll be frightened. Are you trying to understand the mental state of Jayanto? His mind was actually not at peace, right? And then he saw something moving near the window. So obviously he was scared, and he took some time to get up and switch on the light, to gather the courage to switch on the light. And maybe by that time the thing which was present there must have disappeared, must have gone. So this is what he said. He said, well, to tell you the truth, I was rather scared. That means whatever came in must still be in the room. But Shankar is like not interested in how frightened he was or what is going inside his mind. He is just busy trying to find out what was it that came inside the room through that window. He said that means that whatever entered our room through the window must be inside, because we never saw that that creature moving out of the window. Well, since both the doors are bolted from inside, and both the doors are bolted from inside, so the only way to the outside was the window, and you didn't see anyone going out of the window, so that creature must be inside the room. That animal must be inside the room. I rose quickly and searched under the bed, behind our suitcases, and everywhere else in the room. I could not find anything. The door to the bathroom was closed. I opened it and was about to start another search when Jayanto called out to me, Shankar. So, what happened? Shankar just got up from the bed, right? He started searching. He searched everywhere, near the suitcases, and in every nook and corner of the room. And though the doors of the bathroom were closed, but still he opened it and tried to find that thing inside the bathroom also. And when he was like about to start another search, right, move ahead with his next search operation, what happened? Exactly at that moment, he heard Jayanto call out his name, right? Though he uttered his name very softly, right? That means he was very frightened. He was very scared. So he called out his name, Shankar, very softly. I came back to the room. Jayanto was staring hard at the cover of the bed. Upon seeing me, he pulled a portion of it near the lamp and said, "Look at this." So what did he do? When he heard his name being called out, he just went back inside the room, and then what happened? He saw that Jayanto was staring very attentively, looking very attentively to the cover of the quilt. Right? We normally cover our quilts, and the color of the cloth in those days was white. Right? All the quilts were covered with white color. Right? So that see, it's very easy to recognize the marks and the impressions if they are formed on white, right? So we never had those printed ones like the way we have today. So he was staring at the cover of the quilt very attentively, and then upon seeing me, and the moment Jayanto saw his friend, what did he do? He just brought some portion of that covering towards the lamp so that he also is able to see it clearly. Look at this, he said. Just look at this. I bent over the cloth and saw tiny brown circular marks on it. I said, well, these could have been made by the cat, right? So he saw those marks, and what did he say? These marks have been made by the cat. So it was a cat which was walking on your chest, right? You felt a cat walking on your chest. They resemble the marks of a cat, the footprints of a cat. Jayanto did not say anything. Jayanto did not say anything means he kind of showed his disagreement, right? He didn't agree to what was said by Shankar. It was obvious that something had deeply disturbed. But it was 2:30 in the morning. I simply had to get a little more sleep. So I knew I would just sleep, or I knew I would just keep feeling tired. As we had plans of doing a lot of sightseeing the following day. And because he was very proud, he said, "Oh, these have been made by the cat." Now, now he wanted to go back to sleep, right? Because as it is, he was very tired, and then in the middle of the night, he was forced to get up because of his friend find some stupid creature who entered the room through the window, right? And then the marks, now he was relaxed that these marks have been made by the cat. So he decided to go back to sleep because he was worried about the following day, because they had decided to go do a lot of sightseeing the next day. And if he will not sleep properly, then the next day he'll keep on feeling tired, right? He'll not feel fresh, and then he will not be able to enjoy it. So, after murmuring a few soothing words, such as, "Don't worry, I am here with you," and who knows, those marks may have been on your quilt already when you went to bed, I switched off the light once more and lay down. So, because he was more concerned about what he was, about his following day, about tomorrow, he was more concerned. And so he just like those common, normal, soothing words he uttered, "Arey, don't be worried, I'm just sleeping next to you, right? I'm with you, you are not alone, so don't be scared, right?" And how can you say that these marks have been made by someone, by some creature? Now, did you see your quill properly before you went to sleep? No, right? So maybe these marks were present on your quilt before you came into the room, before you just pulled it over you, right? So you cannot be very sure of anything. So just relax, right? Lie down and sleep. I switched off the light once more and lay down. I had no doubt the janitor had only had a bad dream. See, because he was like again a very practical person, so he just felt that he's behaving in such a strange manner. He's feeling so scared because he just had a bad dream. All those memories of his childhood had upset. So this was Shankar's logic, right? He said because of his childhood memories, he must be feeling disturbed, right? He must be feeling tense, and so all those thoughts, all those memories resulted in a bad dream, obviously, and that was what had led to his dreaming of a cat walking on his chest. I slept soundly for the rest of the night. If there were further disturbances, Jayanto did not tell me about, but I could see in the morning that he had not slept well. So, see, at first though Jayanto was hesitant to talk to his friend, right? He didn't utter everything what was going in his mind, right, about those marks. But what happened? Shankar didn't give a very positive response, right? Shankar didn't encourage him to talk about his actual theory which was going inside his head. Rather, rather he told him that these marks were made by the cat. Arey, don't worry, I am with you. This is because means some cat has made these marks. These marks must be present on your quilt. So he gave so many logical possibilities. What will happen if you like want to share something which is not normal, and the person with whom you want to share, you somehow find out that the person will not believe you, right? Has no intention of believing you, then how will you feel? After some time, what will you do? You will stop, right? You will stop yourself from revealing your mind, revealing your thoughts. So the same thing happened with Jayantu. So that is what Shankar is saying, that I slept after that, and maybe Jayantu must have got up again, but I don't know. I don't have any idea about it because he didn't wake Shankara, right? So, but he didn't sleep properly. That was clearly visible from his face in the morning. Tonight I must give him one of the tranquilizers. What is a tranquilizer? Tranquilizer is a pill which you pop to relax yourself, to make you feel relaxed, and to like reduce your tension and your anxiety, right? Like tranquilizers normally make it easy for you to fall asleep because they make you feel relaxed, they calm down your mind, and so you can fall asleep. So Shankar thought that today I will just give him a tranquilizer I brought with me. I thought so. He had some kind of pills with him, these tranquilizing pills with him, and so maybe they are a kind of sleeping pills, you can say, right? Which helps to calm down your mind so that you can fall asleep properly. So he thought of giving him one tranquilizer so that he can sleep properly. We finished our breakfast by 9, as we had planned, and left for the store. A car had already been arranged. It was almost 9:30 by the time we reached. Some of Jayanto's old forgotten memories began coming back because he had spent some good amount of time in that place. So once he visited the fort, he must have visited the fort also during his childhood. So once he visited the fort again past memories started coming to his mind. Though fortunately they had nothing to do with his job. But this time he didn't recollect anything about the fort. These memories which were coming to his mind when he was in the fort were not of that sort. In fact, his youthful exuberance made me think that he had forgotten. Exuberance means excitement. Means the way Jayanto was behaving in that fort, right? He felt a lot excited. There was a lot of excitement which was visible in his behavior, right? So Shankar thought that now he has forgotten everything about the doll and now he is feeling relaxed. There's that elephant on top of the table, he exclaimed. And the turrets. What is the turret? Those are small towers, right? In a fort, you will see certain small towers are there, then there is one big tower is also there. So those small towers are known as turrets. So he was talking like this. There, because see, once you are revisiting a place, and there is someone who's coming with you for the first time, right? Your companion is visiting that place for the first time. You feel excited. You want to tell, there is an elephant and there is this thing which is very interesting. And then even while watching a movie, also we do, right? If we are repeating a movie, then and the person who's sitting next to you, you are a big spoiler, right? So the same thing happens. Like you try to show that you are very well acquainted with that place. So Jayanto was also behaving in that manner, right? There is an elephant there. There are those turrets, and here is the bed made of silver and the. So here is a bed which is made of silver, and the throne is also there. Look at that picture on the wall. I saw it the last time. Look at that picture when I came last time when I was just a child. Then also this picture was hanging there only. So he was talking in a very excited manner. And so this made Shankar believe that now he is normal. Now he is out of those sad memories of his job. But within an hour, his enthusiasm began to wane. So what happened? Within an hour, after an hour, this enthusiasm, this excitement, this exuberance was there inside him, that began to decrease, that began to reduce. I was so engrossed myself that I did not notice that. But Shankar didn't notice that he is again becoming sad and gloomy because he was so excited seeing that fort, right? He was so excited himself that he didn't notice this change in Jayanto. But while walking through a hall and looking at the chandeliers, and what are those chandeliers? Those are like you must have seen that in the old buildings. They were hung on the ceiling, right? And there were bulbs placed inside it, right? Or lamps or bulbs. Like when there was no electricity, then there were candles inside it, right? Made of glass, right? And then they branched. In one chandelier, there were like several candles and lamps can be placed. Humor, it's actually humor hanging from the ceiling because it was a fort, so there must be chandeliers also which were hanging from the ceiling. I suddenly realized Jayanto was no longer walking by my side. Where was he? So all of a sudden, right, when he came out of his excitement, right, so then he realized that Jayanto is missing and Shankar was all by himself. We had a guide with us. So because they were with a guide who was telling them about that place. Whenever we visit a new place, we normally prefer hiring a guide. So there was a guide with him, and then the guide told him that Babu had gone out on the terrace, that Jayanto has gone towards the terrace. I came out of the hall and found Jayanto standing absent-mindedly near a wall on the other side of the terrace. Absent-mindedly means completely lost. He did not seem to notice my presence. So he was so lost, so engrossed in his thoughts that he didn't even notice Shankar's presence. Right? He didn't even notice when Shankar entered the place. He did not seem to notice my presence, even when I went and stood beside him. Right? So Shankar went and he was standing next to him. Then also he didn't notice. He started when I called his name, him by his name. Started means he was kind of surprised. Right? When you are lost in your thoughts, and then somebody comes and starts talking to you, then you are start here means startled, right? Surprised, or you are alarmed, right? So when I called out his name, then he was alarmed. What on earth is the matter with you? I asked. Why are you standing here like here looking morose, even in a beautiful place like this? I can't understand. So he said, why? What's wrong with you? Why are you just standing here and looking so sad and gloomy? Morose means sad. So Jayanto simply said, have you finished seeing everything? If so, let's. So he said, he didn't reply to his question. He only asked that, have you finished seeing everything? And if you are done with it, then we can go back to the circuit house. Had I been alone, I would definitely have spent a little more time at it. But one look at Jayanto made me decide in favor of returning to the circuit. So again, this also shows that he cared for his friend. Right? If you are asked to write about their friendship, then you will write all these points. That Shankar said that if he would have been alone at that place, then he would have stayed at that place for some more time. But because he was with Jayanto, and on seeing Jayanto's condition, he thought that going back to the circuit house would be a better option. A road through the hills took us back to the town. Jayanto and I were both sitting in the back of the car. I offered him a cigarette, but he didn't. I noticed a veiled excitement. Veiled excitement means the excited was he felt a little excited, he felt a little restless, but again that was not clearly expressed by him. Right? He was trying to hide it. Excitement in the movement of his hand. What happens when we are excited or when we are restless or we are anxious or nervous or any these kind of things are happening to us? We normally move our hands, right? Our hands and legs and limbs, they start moving, right? We don't even realize at times. That is why it's not considered a good gesture to keep on shaking your legs. I've corrected so many of you, right? Don't go on shaking your legs because it shows that you are nervous, right? There is some kind of anxiety inside you. So it's not considered a very nice thing. So he was trying to veil it, he was trying to hide it, but again he was not able to do so because of the movement of his hand. Right? Maybe he was tapping at one place and then his hands were moving very quickly. One moment he placed them near the window, then on his lap, and immediately afterwards began biting them. Biting the nails is again another gesture of nervousness. Right? So first he kept his hand near the window, then on his lap, and then he was biting it. So and doing this several times. Jayanto was quite fine. This odd restlessness in him worried because the way he was behaving at this moment was not his normal behavior. Shankar had known him for a long period of time. They had done their schooling together. So this strange change in Jayanto's behavior worried him. He was worried because of this change in Jayanto's behavior. After about 10 minutes, I could not take it anymore. So he waited for some time so that Jayanto may be normal, but again, he couldn't take it. See, it's very disturbing, right? You feel irritated if somebody is sitting next to you and he's fidgeting, going on fidgeting continuously for a long period of time, then it's very distracting for you also, right? If a person who is sitting next to you can't sit straight, right, behaving in a very fidgety manner, then you tend to get irritated. So for 10 minutes, Shankar tried to control, and then he said, "It might help if you told me about your problem." I said. Jayanto shook his head. It's no use telling you, for you are not going to believe. Right? So Jayanto said that it's no use if I tell you, because whatever I have to tell you, you won't believe you. Right? And once you are not going to believe me, it's completely useless. Okay, even if I don't believe you, I can at least discuss the matter with you, can't I? So, see, these lines are telling the different nature of both of them. Shankar, though he is a very practical person, he says that in spite of his friend telling him that you won't believe whatever I have to tell you, he is not annoyed, right? Still, he very patiently, very logically tells him, fine, even if I don't believe you, still I will try to help you out. We can find out some suitable solution to your problem, right? This is how a logical and a sensible person is supposed to behave. Fritz came into our room last night. Those little marks on my quilt were his footprints. So, obviously, how will Shankar believe this? That it was Fritz, it was not the cat who was walking on your chest, it was Fritz who was walking on his chest. There was very little I could do to this, except catch hold of him by the shoulder and shake. So what does it mean? That he showed his complete reluctance to it. He was not able to say anything. The only thing which he did was just held him by the shoulders and shook him, right? How could I talk sensibly to someone whose mind was obsessed with such an absurd idea, right? So he was completely obsessed. His mind was completely obsessed, or you can say rather possessed by the thought of Fritz. He was continuously thinking about Fritz. Maybe there was some childhood memory, some distorted childhood memory related to Fritz. That is why he was showing such a paranoid attitude. You didn't see anything, did you? I said finally. So he's again started his level best to convince him, and he said, "Did you see Fritz? Did you see anything?" No, na. Then so Jayanto replied, "No, but I could distinctly feel that whatever was walking on my chest had 2 feet, not 4. So whatever you are saying, the possibility of a cat walking on my chest, it cannot be true, because whatever it was which was walking on my chest in the night, that had 2 feet and not 4. As we got out of the car at the circuit house, I decided that Jayanto must be given a nerve or some such thing. A tranquilizer might not be good enough, because now he felt that there is something wrong with his mind. Right? So he needs a tonic to help his nervous system. A tranquilizer might not be good for him, or might even worsen the situation. I could not allow a 37-year-old man to be so upset by a simple memory from his childhood. This is what he said. Right? See, under no circumstance, Shankar is ready to believe that a doll can, who was a doll which was buried somewhere 31 years ago could come out of its grave and start walking on someone's chest during the night. So these lines will tell you that he was a logical person. You can just note down these points, right? I said to Jayanto upon reaching our room, it's nearly 12 o'clock. Should we not be thinking of having a bath? You go first, said Jayanto and flung himself on the bed. An idea came to my mind in the bath. So Jayanto wanted to relax, and so he was there on the bed, and he asked Shankar to go. So while Shankar was taking a bath, some idea came to his mind. And what was the idea? Perhaps this was the only way to bring Jayanto back to normal. So because Shankar was continuously thinking about how to make his friend come back to normalcy, so one idea came into his mind. This is the idea. The next paragraph tells you the idea. If a doll had been buried somewhere 30 years ago, and if one knew the exact spot, we know that Jayanto knew the exact spot. It's under that Deodar tree. It might be possible to dig the ground there. No doubt, most of it would have been destroyed. But it was likely that we would find just a few things, especially if they were made of metal. You remember when Jayanto described the doll, that it had its buckles and which were made of copper, and there were some metallic parts also in that doll made of metal, such as a buckle of a belt or brass buttons on the jacket. If Jayanto could actually be shown that that was all that was left of his precious doll, he might be able to rid himself of his weird notion. So if we just go and somehow dig at that place where Jayanto buried that doll 31 years ago, and he is able to see with his own eyes what all is left, what all parts, maybe all those metallic parts, they will still be there, buried under the ground. So if he is able to see with his own eyes those parts, then this might definitely help him to come back to normal. So this was the idea which came to Shankar's mind. Otherwise, he would have strange dreams every night and talk of Fritz walking on his chair. Otherwise, because he is so much obsessed, he is so much preoccupied with that doll, he is so much preoccupied with that Fritz. You remember when he was a child and he had that doll. At that time also, he was completely absorbed with it. And now when he recollected about that doll, then that also had a very disturbing impact upon him. So this is what Shankar felt, that if I am not able to take out my friend from these memories, if the pictures which are there in his mind, they are not cleared in a proper manner, if the idea which is in his mind, if it is not cleared in a proper manner, then he will never be able to come out of this. And what will happen after some time? After some time, he might go crazy also. He might go mad also, right? Because this is something strange. He might not be very comfortable in talking about these things to other people, right? And every night he will go on feeling that something is walking on his chest. Then what will happen? See, these kind of situations, they go on increasing. Yesterday, he felt something walking on his chest. Tomorrow, he might start hallucinating some other thing. He might feel that Fritz is sitting next to him. Fritz is walking. Fritz is doing this. Fritz is talking to him. So then what will happen? Then this will result in complete madness. See, this is a very normal thing with the psychological and mental diseases. If they are not treated at the proper time, or if they are not treated at the very beginning, they can be very, very dangerous. And the irony is that in the very beginning, it's very difficult to find out that the person is not okay, right? Jayanto seemed to like my idea at first, but after a little while he said, who will do the digging? Where will you find a spade? Spade, you know, a spade is a tool which is used to dig the ground. So he said, in the beginning, Jayanto liked the idea, Shankar shared this idea with Jayantu, and in the beginning he liked it, but after some time he said, "And how will we dig? From where will the spade come?" I laughed. Since there is a garden, see, he is a logical person. He always talks rational and practical things. He said, because you can see a garden. If there is a garden, there needs to be a gardener, right? If there is a well-maintained garden, then there must be a gardener. There is bound to be a gardener. And that would mean there is a spade. And if there is a gardener, gardener will have his tools, and his tools will have a spade. If we offered him a tip, if we like, whenever the gardener comes, then we just give him some money. Tip here means some money, right? I have no doubt that he would have no objection to digging up a bit of the ground near the trunk of the tree at the far end of the lawn. So if we just agree to give him some money, then he will have no problem in digging some ground at a particular place. And you know the place, right? Because you know, when a child will bury something under the ground, obviously he's not going to dig deep. He was just a 5 or 6 year old child when he did that. So just a few inches or a foot will do, right? He'll not go on digging it. So Jayantu did not accept the idea immediately, nor did I say anything further. He went and had his bath after a little bit of persuasion. At lunch, he ate nothing except a couple of chapatis with meat. So again, he was continuously disturbed. Right? He's not eating properly. He's needing persuasion to take a bath. It means that he is completely preoccupied with something else. Although I knew that he was quite fond of his food, in spite of being a foodie, in spite of having great love for food, he didn't eat much. After lunch, we went and sat in the cane chairs on the veranda that overlooked the garden. There appeared to be no one else in the circle. There was something eerie about the silence that happened. Something eerie means something mysterious. Eerie means something which is, you can say, very mysterious and frightening. Mysterious in a way which is frightening. So that is eerie. So in that afternoon, there was something strange, something mysterious, and something frightening about that place. All we could hear was the noise made by the few monkeys sitting on the Gulmohar tree across the cobbled path. Cobbled path means path made of stone. Around 3 p.m., we saw a man come into the garden, carrying a watering can. So he was the gardener. A gardener came at around 3 p.m. He was an old man. His hair, moustaches, and sideburns were all white. What is the sideburn? That hair, that strip of hair on a man's head, no, on both the sides of the face. That is known as the sideburn. So he was an old man, and his sideburns, these sideburns, right? They were white. His hair was white, and his moustaches were also white. We will ask him. Will you ask him, or should I? So Shankar inquired from Jayantu that will you go and talk to him, or should I do it? At this question from Jayantu, Jayantu asked this question. At this question from Jayantu, I raised a reassuring hand and went straight to the garden. This was asked by Jayantu. Jayantu said that will you go and ask him, or should I go? So Shankar just raised a reassuring hand. He just raised like this and said that no, I will do it. After I had spoken to him, he looked at me rather suspiciously. So he also had us down. We just go to a garden and offer and request him to dig at a particular place under that Devdar tree, right? And the gardener knows that you are just a guest in that circuit house. So obviously that is not a normal request which is made to the gardener every day. So obviously he'll have his own suspicion. So after I spoke to him, he looked at me rather suspiciously. Clearly, no one had ever made such a request. So it was very clear from his face that this kind of request was made to him for the first time. Why, Babu? He asked. So gardener wanted, why? Why do you want me to dig at that place? I laid a friendly hand on his shoulder and said, don't worry about the reason. I'll give you 5 rupees. Please do as we are told. So all his inquisitiveness was silenced by the money which he agreed to offer. Right? He said, why are you worried about the reason when I am giving you 5 rupees? You just relax and do whatever is asked. So he agreed. He relented, going so far as to give me a salute accompanied by a broad grin. And the moment he came to know that he will get 5 rupees, see, 5 rupees were of great value in those days, right? At least for a gardener, it will be like a good amount of money. So he relented. Relented means agreed, right? He agreed, right? And he was so happy that he not only agreed, he even gave him a salute and a broad grin also. There was a broad smile also on his face. I beckoned to Jayantu. Beckon means to gesture, right? When you gesture someone to come, right? Or follow, then that is with your hands, so that is beckoning. Like you say, na, this is beckoning. Any gesture which is done to ask another person to come or approach, because Jayantu must be sitting in the veranda, which was far away from the place. So he just gestured him to come. I did hope we would find at least some part of the doll. The gardener, in the meantime, had fetched a spade. The three of us made our way to the river. Jayantu pointed at the ground about a yard from the trunk of the tree and said, "Here." So Jayantu knew the exact place where they need to dig. And so he pointed at a place near the Deodar tree and he said, "Yes, here you are supposed to dig." "Are you sure?" I asked him. Shankara confirmed. "Are you sure that you buried the doll at this place only?" Jayantu nodded silently. "How much did you dig?" "At least 8 inches." So I told you that he was just a small child, so he will not do a lot of digging, right? So he just dug 8 inches. The gardener started digging. So he said that when I buried the doll, I just dug 8 inches, and so the gardener also started digging. The man had a sense of humor. The man is the gardener. The gardener had a sense of humor. And what did he say? As he lifted his spade, he asked if there was hidden treasure under the ground, and if so, whether we would be prepared to share it with. So the gardener wanted to be sure that if we are like on some treasure hunt, if we are trying to find some treasure under the ground, and then what are our plans of sharing that treasure with the gardener also. The gardener also should be a party to that treasure, which if they are able to find it under the ground. I had to laugh at this. I had to laugh at this means he didn't want to laugh at it because the matter was rather serious, but he had to laugh just to appease the gardener, right? Just to tell the gardener that it was a very nice joke. At times we do. We force ourselves to laugh, right? We don't actually enjoy the joke, but just to make the other person happy who was responsible for cracking such a funny joke, we laugh. So Shankar laughed at his joke, but Jayantu's face did not register even the slightest trace of amusement. But there was no amusement, not even a smile on Jayantu's face. It was the month of October and not at all warm and gloomy. So it was October, and in October it's not so warm. Yet the collar of his shirt was soaked in sweat. This was the extent of his anxiety. When the ground was being dug, he was so anxious, he was so restless, he was so scared and frightened, so nervous that the collar of his shirt was wet with sweat, even in the month of October. He was staring at the ground unblinkingly. Unblinkingly means without blinking the eyes. The gardener continued to dig. Why was there no sign of the dog? The gardener went on digging, and Shankar wondered why is there no sign of the dog? A raucous cry of a peacock made me turn. Raucous cry means a very, you can say, rough cry, a long and a rough cry, like the peacocks they cry. So that sound of the peacock made Shankar turn and look for the peacock, and it was just a moment. Everyone was looking attentively at the place where the gardener was digging, and for a moment Shankar turned and he heard some peacock crying, and he turned and he tried to see the peacock, and at that instant what happened? Jayanto made a strange sound. Jayanto said something. I quickly looked at him. Maybe he must have uttered a shriek, right? Some strange sound was made by Jayanto. And so he was like alarmed, and he turned back and looked at Jayanto, that what happened to him. His eyes were bulging. His eyes were bulging means they were about to come out, because his eyes were wide open, right? He raised his right hand and pointed at the hole in the ground with a finger that was visibly trembling. So he asked Jayanto, what happened? So Jayanto didn't say anything. He only raised his hand and pointed at the hole which was dug by the gardener. And when he was pointing, his fingers were trembling. His hand was also trembling. Trembling means shaking. Then he asked in a voice turned hoarse with fear, What? What is that? Then, in a very rough voice, his voice was so rough because of the fear, because he was so frightened, he said, What is that? The spade slipped from the gardener's hand. The spade also slipped from the hand of the gardener. I too gaped at the ground. Gaping means looking at something with your mouth wide open. Open mouth in for amazement and disbelief. So, see, it was more of a disbelief for Shankar, because he didn't expect to see such a thing. Right? He is someone who doesn't believe in paranormal and all these things, right? So it was the greatest surprise. So he also looked at that hole with a lot of disbelief, amazement, and horror. He was also struck with horror. There lay at our feet, covered in dust, lying flat on its back, a 12-inch long, pure white, perfect little human skeleton. So what was it that they saw and they were so scared? They saw a 12-inch human skeleton inside that hole. Pure white, perfect little human skeleton. And it was a 12-inch skeleton. The story is clear? Fine. Let's quickly, in 2 minutes, let's quickly discuss the theme of the story. What are the major themes of the story? The first and the foremost theme is existence of paranormal. This is what the writer is trying to tell us, right? He's talking about the paranormal, the environment, the atmosphere. At certain places, the writer has tried to create some abnormal, some eerie, strange, mysterious situation, right? So the writer is stressing on this point, that is the existence of paranormal. This is the central theme of the story. But is it? What are the other things? That is, I mean, like very superficial thing. Means anyone going through the story will be able to know and will be able to tell us that the story deals with the horror and the paranormal and all these things. But that is not the real theme. The actual theme, if we delve deeper, if we go deep inside this story, we will find that the actual theme of the story is memory. Right? That human mind is a strange thing. That is what the writer is actually trying to tell us. Right? How it can play tricks. If you study the story critically, then you will come to know that any childhood memory which is not processed inside our mind in a very healthy manner. Fritz was one memory which was not processed in the mind of this person Jayanto in a very healthy manner. Right? It was some bad memory. There was some bad memory in the mind of Jayanto. And see what happens are most of our child. See, it is said that till when a child is born, he doesn't have any memory. Right? From the time of our birth till the time of 7-8 years, what happens? It leads to the formation of our subconscious mind. Right? And during that time, whatever we experience, whatever we feel, whatever we think, see, till the age of 7 years, the human mind is busy gathering data, you can see. from the surroundings, from the environment, from the relationships, from the society, and from all the places, from all the possible places. That is the job of the human mind, right? Then the logical brain doesn't function much till the age of 7 years. This is what psychology says, that till the age of 7 years, the human mind is not very logical. That is why we need to teach the young kids to behave in a certain manner. Do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that, right? Because they seldom use their logic at that age. So till that age, they just go on accumulating and collecting data from the different sources of this world. Then what happens? After that age, after they cross that age, then their behavior, how a child will behave throughout his life, is 95% of his behavior throughout his life is determined by all the data which he has collected during this time. So because he had some, you can say, very unhealthy memories related to Fritz, those memories were not processed in his mind properly, right? Means there were certain past events in Jayanto's life when he was a child, when he was a 5-6-year-old child, right? Which his mind, maybe because of ignorance, maybe just a 5-year-old child, how will he be able to think everything correctly? He was not mature enough at that time. So those things were not processed properly in his mind, and so that is why it resulted in hallucinating. He's kind of hallucinating also, that Fritz was walking on his chest, and Fritz is still alive in some supernatural form. It is there. You can see from the very beginning, his mind forced him to come to that place. From the beginning of the story, you remember, if you read the first page, why did Shankar visit that place? So Shankar visited that place on the insistence of his friend. Though he was not, at that time, though he was not able to recollect the real reason of visiting Bundi, but there was something inside him, something inside his brain, which was continuously prompting him to go to Bundi. And so that is why he convinced his friend that let's go to Bundi. And from the time he reached Bundi, he is disturbed, he's lost, and slowly what happens? These memories, they start reviving, they start coming back to his mind. Right? From the time he reaches Bundi, he is inoffensive, troubled, distracted. Right? Why? Because he's experienced, he had some tragic memory related to that place. Something which was not sorted by his mind at that time. So this is, you can say, human memory and human mind is another major theme of this story. Then childhood. Right? Childhood again plays a very important role in shaping what kind of an adult you will be. I told you, whatever memories you accumulate, whatever data you accumulate till the age of 7 or 8 years, they are actually it's very scientific. These things, they kind of help in forming the foundational neurons of your brain. That is what science believes in. And so your childhood actually helps to determine what type of person you will be as an adult. Right? And then another major theme is friendship. Right? Though Shankar and Jayanto were poles apart in their nature, in their behavior, there was great contrast in their behavior, in their nature, in their way of thinking. But still, how they maintained balance in such a beautiful manner. That is important. Jayanto was sensitive and anxious. Shankar was more of a practical and astute person. Yes, ma'am. So, This is clear how they brought about a balance in spite of being very different in their natures. That is important. Now, analyzing the end of the story. Keeping aside the horror thing, right? So one is if you are a person who believes in horror stories, then you can't. One of the possibilities is that there was a ghost, right? Fritz was a ghost, right? Or another logic can be finding of the human skeleton doesn't actually establish that there was a ghost. It is quite possible that inside that doll, inside the outer covering of that doll, there was a human skeleton. See, 12 inch is the size of a baby, right? A newborn baby is approximately the size of 12 inches, right? A person who doesn't have, who is not genetically supposed to be very tall, so 12 inches is the normal size of a baby, right? So maybe that Fritz had that sinister doll. Fritz had a human skeleton inside it. That is also quite possible. When the outer covering of that doll was eaten away by the worms in the soil, then whatever was left was the human skeleton. But then there is also a quite possibility that his mind had a distorted memory. Maybe some child was buried. See, because the story deals with the human mind and the human memory, then it is also quite possible that some child would have been buried there. And Jayanto might have been a witness to it, right? And then, see, human mind is a great thing. Maybe that memory was stored in his subconscious mind, and then this whole thing related to Fritz, this whole story of Fritz was created by his mind with the help of those past memories. How can you, something which happened 31 years ago and when the person was a child, how can he be so sure that it was the doll only which was buried here? There was no trace of a doll. There was only a human skeleton there. There were no buckles. There were no metallic parts to be found there. It was only the human skeleton which was found there. So it is quite possible that he must have had some bad memory. Right? Maybe he must have seen something or must have been a witness to something. And then after 31 years, those childhood memories, which again were not processed properly by his brain, they resulted in this entire thing, entire imagination related to threats. So these are like the possibilities. With this, we